Hello everyone. In this video of QBasic programming, I am going to talk about different elements of a QBasic program. Let's start with character set. As you can see on the screen, we have a program written with the help of different types of symbols. So these all symbols are together called as character set. In QBasic, character set consists of alphabets, uppercase as well as lowercase, then digits from 0 to 9 and symbols which act as delimiters or punctuators. In every program, generally we are working on some data, and that data or value is called as constant. The values on which we work are stored somewhere in computer's memory, and in a program we refer to these memory locations with the help of some name, and that name is formed from alphabets and digits. You cannot start a name with digit. It should always start with an alphabet. It can never contain any special symbol or space. So these names that we give to the memory locations where we have stored some values are called as variables. There are two types of values or constants in QBasic, so there are two types of variables also. The variables which refer to numeric values are called as numeric variables, and the ones which refer to the string values are called as string variables. See, from this program we have L and B referring to the numeric data. There is one more, that is result. This is also going to refer to the data which is going to be a numeric value, which will be a result of multiplication of 9 and 5. But here you can see this message has an extra symbol, that is dollar symbol, because it is referring to some string value. So all the numeric variables, they are simple combination of alphabets and digits as names, whereas the variables which are going to refer to the string value always have a dollar symbol at the end. While forming a variable, you should always take care that it should be short and meaningful. You cannot have the variable names with more than 40 characters in QBasic. The next element of a QBasic program is operator. An operator is a symbol that tells the type of operation to be performed. For example, to perform all the mathematical calculations, we have arithmetic operators. In order to see how the arithmetic operators work, I have already created a program, so I will open it. In order to open an existing program, we click on File, then Open, and here you can see the list of files existing in your computer. We will open the file by selecting it and then clicking on OK. Let's maximize the window. One more thing that you should know is that the file names in QBasic have to be not more than 8 characters. As you know, each line of instruction that you write in QBasic is a statement. So when you will execute this program, the first task will be the clearing of the output window so that we do not have any output from the previous executions. The next statement is rem. Rem means remarks. With the help of this statement, we add some information to the program so that the person reading this program can get the details about the program. For example, in this one I have written, this program demonstrates the use of different arithmetic operators. So clearly, the one who is going to read this program will be aware of the purpose of the program. Things written in remarks are non-executable, which means that interpreter has nothing to do with this information. Next is a variable A, which is assigned the value 5. Then we have B with value 2. Then we are printing the values with the help of print statement. If you want to print exact data, you write it in double quotation marks. So I have written double quotation marks open, then A space equal to symbol, then again space, and then double quotation marks. After that we have a semicolon, which means that first piece of information to be printed is over and the next is the variable A. The things written in double quotation marks will be printed as they are, and when you have the names of the variables, the values of those variables will be printed out. So this line will print A equals to 5. Similarly, the next line will print B equals to 2. After that, I have demonstrated the use of addition, that is plus. So clearly, it will print the result of addition, which is stored in the variable C. In the next step, we have the result of subtraction, then we have multiplication, and then we have division. As you can see here, it is C equals to A /B. This forward slash means a natural division. For example, when we divide 5 by 2, we are going to get 2.5. The next statement is also performing the division only, but in this case we have a backslash. So this backslash is going to represent integer division. This means that when 5 will be divided by 2, it will result in the quotient value 2 and not 2.5. Next is the exponent symbol. This is going to answer as a raised to the power b, which means 5 raised to the power 2, that is 25. Finally, we have mod. Mod means modulus or the remainder. So in this case, we will get the answer as 1, because when 5 is divided by 2, we get 1 as remainder. Now let's execute the program. So click on run and then click on continue. So you can see we have first a equals to 5, then b equals to 2, and then sum of the values, that is 5 plus 2, 7, then 5 minus 2, 3, 5 multiplied by 2, 10, 5 divided by 2 using the forward slash gives you 2.5. When 5 divided by 2 using the backslash gives you 2. So you can see that it has ignored the fractional part. Next, you have 5 raised to the power 2, which is 25. And finally, you have the remainder obtained when dividing 5 by 2, which is 1. Now let's create a new program. So I will click on File and then New. Let's save this file with the name prg2.bas. Press enter. Now before writing anything, let's execute the program by clicking on run and then continue. You can see the output from the previous program. So the first statement in every program should be CLS. Now in order to explain the purpose of program, we will write some remarks. So I will write here rem, then put a space and will write this is demonstration of variables. So whatever I have written on this line starting from the command rem is going to be ignored by the interpreter. Now let me write the same thing in a different way. This time I am going to start the line with a single quotation mark. So both the cases have the remarks only and both the lines will be ignored by the interpreter. Now let's talk about the let command. Now what did we do using let? We simply created variables and assigned the values. So the let statement is optional because we can do the same task without writing the let, as you saw in the previous program also. First save it and then execute it. So you can see the area of rectangle is 10. Every time you run this program, you will see the same output. We generally want the people to enter the values, and on the basis of those values, we should be able to answer. So I will modify this program, and this time I'm just going to delete the statements. We will write the statements to read the values from the user and store them in variables x and y. For this we use the input statement. So I have written input and then some message like enter the length, then a semicolon, and then the name of the variable in which we want to store the value given by the user. Another statement for reading the value of breadth. So now let's execute the program. Click on run and then continue. As you can see, it is asking for the length, written 20, and the breadth is suppose 9. When you press enter, you see the area of the rectangle is 180. Now let's execute again, and this time suppose I want to give some wrong value. It is not continuing only. So let's provide the correct value. This time suppose 45, and the second one is suppose 5.5. So you have the area of the rectangle calculated on the basis of the values that you provided. Now let's talk about some relational operators. For this I will create a new file. So click on file and then new. Since the current file is not saved, so it is prompting you for saving it now. Click on yes. Let's write the remark and then the CLS statement. The relational operators are going to tell the relation between two values of same type. So they will compare the values and will answer in true or false. The relational operators result in 0 in case of a false situation and non-zero value in case of a true situation. Generally they return -1. To understand it better, let us have some print statement where we are comparing the values. 5 less than 6. Of course this is true. Let's execute the program. So first save the file and then execute it. You can see we have -1 on the screen, which is non-zero value, so clearly it is true. Next, if I say 5 is greater than 6, now again save the file and run the program. And this time you can see we have 0. 0 means false. So with the help of relational operators, you generally write a statement which has to be evaluated for its truth or fallacy. Similarly, we have some other relational operators like greater than equal to, then less than equal to, not equal to, and equal to. The relational operators are not used directly like this. They are generally used with some conditional statements, which we will see in the next program. There is one more type of operator in QBasic, that is logical operator. The logical operators compare two relational expressions. What is an expression? An expression is a combination of values and operators. For example, when I wrote 5 less than 6, this forms an expression. And since we are using the relational operator here, so it is a relational expression. In case I had written 5 plus 6, it could be called as arithmetic expression because the arithmetic operator was used between the values 5 and 6. So now let's have an example of logical operators. I will print 5 less than 6. I will write it in parentheses just to make it a group. Then I will use the word and. Then another expression like 5 not equal to 6. Let's save the program and run it. Since there are so many outputs, let's clear the screen before printing it. Now let's have another use of this AND operator. Print 5 is equal to 6, which we already know is false, and 5 is not equal to 6, which is true. Let's save the program and run it. You can see it returns 0. For the first print statement, it gives -1, which is true because we had first a relational expression as 5 less than 6, which was true, and 5 not equal to 6, which was also true. So it returned true. But in the case of second print statement, we have written 5 equals to 6, which is false, and the second expression, however, it is true, but it returns false. So clearly, the AND operator returns true only if both the expressions being compared return true. Now let's see the OR operator. Print 5 equals to 6, which is false, then OR, and then 5 not equal to 6. Let's save the program and execute it. This time it is true. So an OR operator returns false only if both the relational expressions used return false. Otherwise it returns true. Now let's try it practically. So print 5 is equal to 6, which is false, then OR, and then 5 is not equal to 5, which is again false. So when we write both the relational expressions as false, it is going to return false. Now another logical operator is NOT. The NOT operator works on just one relational expression. So whatever is the result of that relational expression, it is going to return the opposite. For example, in this case, 5 equals to 6 is false, but it will return true. Yes, it returns true because NOT operator just reverses the output of a relational expression. Now let's talk about the END command. As the name suggests, an END command terminates or ends the program. By default, when all the statements of a program are executed, it is automatically ended. But there are situations when we want the program to be ended manually. So in that case, we can write the word end when we want to end the program. So I'm going to have all the relational operators evaluated, and then I will end the program there only. So there will be no output for logical operators. In order to have a clear indication of where the relational operators are starting and where the logical ones are starting, I will add some print statement. Now let's save the program. It should print relational operators and there should be 7 lines of output, and then due to the end statement it should end the program. And if it is not able to end the program, it will print the message logical operators and then it will give us 5 lines of output here also. So let's execute the program after saving it. Clearly you can see the heading relational operators and we have 7 lines of output here. Go back to the program and you can see that the program was ended right after the evaluation of relational operators. Now let's discuss some conditional statements. For this, we save the program and we create a new one. Let's write some remarks. Now we will clear the screen also. Now let's save the program. Now whatever we have learned so far, we can utilize it to create a program which solves some real world problem. For example, suppose you want to check whether a person is eligible for voting or not. So we'll write input, we'll give a message, we will store this value in age, then we will write if put a space age greater than or equal to 18, then space print the message is you are eligible for voting. Let's save the program and execute it. Let us enter 17 here. There is no output. Go back to the program, again execute it, provide 19 here, you are eligible for voting. Go back to the program, again execute it. This time let's provide 18, you are eligible for voting. Now I'm going to write the same if statement in a different way. For example, I will write if age is greater than equal to 18, then on the next line print you are eligible for voting. And if you want, you can have another line to be printed here. Now let's save and try to execute it. This time there is an error saying that this is an if block without end if, which means that when you start the if statement, by default whatever you write on the single line belongs to the if statement. But when you distribute the if statement to multiple lines, it is required that you end it. So we'll write here end space if. Let's save the program and execute it. Again let's provide the value 18, you are eligible for voting, go vote. Let's execute it again. This time let's provide here 17 and this time there is no message. It's quite awkward that the program is not responding. Generally we want the programs to respond in case we have provided correct value and also in case we have provided some incorrect value. So let's save the program with a different name, and this time we want some message to be printed in case this situation, that is age greater than or equal to 80, is not true. So for that we use else. Now we will modify this program in order to display some message in case the condition age greater than or equal to 18 is not true. So let's delete the things, and this time we will write here else and then print you cannot vote. Again we have to end the if statements. Now save the program and let's execute it. Let's provide 17, you cannot vote. Let's execute again, and this time let's provide 18, you are eligible for voting. So now the program is functioning the way we wanted. Now let's talk about the goto statement. For this we will create a new program. So click on file and new. Let's have some remarks here. Demonstration of goto. Now clear the screen. This time I am going to create a program to print the values from 1 to 10. And for this I will be using simple variable with some initial value. I will do some mathematical calculation like adding 1 and then repeating the same step using the goto statement. The goto statement helps us to go to a particular label or line number and continue the execution from there. Let's see it to understand. I will have some variable named x with initial value 1. Now I want to print this value, so I will write here print x. Then I will increase the value of x by 1. So for this I will write x equals to x plus 1. In order to get the things done, I will have to repeat these two statements. That is, print the value of x, then increase the value by 1. So in order to get this thing done repeatedly, I will have to have some label or the line number. And in QBasic, you can easily provide a line number just by writing a digit before the line. For example, third statement as 1, then the print statement as 2, and then the last statement as 3. Now I can use the if statement to have the repetitions done on the basis of a condition. So for this I will write if x is less than or equal to 10, then go to 2. So this program will function like, first it will have a variable named x with value 1. Then it will print the value 1, then increase the value of x by 1, that is x becomes 2. Then it will check if the new value is less than or equal to 10, and if it is true, it will again go to line number 2 and it will print the value. Then again it will increase the value by 1, and then it will again check for the new value, and if this condition is true, it will go to the same line number 2 and will print the value. And this will keep on going until this condition becomes false. So let's execute the program. For this we will save it first and then execute it. You can see we have the output in a proper sequence, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up to 10. Why did it stop at 10? Let's see the condition when x was 9. When the value of x was 9, it was printed, and after that x was updated with the value 9 plus 1, that is 10. Then 10 is less than equal to 10. Of course 10 is not less than, but it is equal to 10. So this condition was true. That's why it went to line number 2 and printed the value of x, that is 10. Then x was updated to 10 plus 1, that is 11. And clearly 11 is neither less nor equal to 10. So condition was false and it did not go to 2 and the program ended. So we had the values from 1 to 10 printed on the output window. It's a good habit to have end statement at the end of the program. However, it is optional. Now let's save the program, and now we can write the same program in a different way. So let's save it as prg8.bas. Now instead of line numbers, I want to use some label. So I will delete the line numbers, and this time wherever you want the control to move, you will add a label, and the label is simply a name followed by colon symbol. So let's name it as task and a colon symbol. Now in front of goto, this time it will not be 2, it will be the name of the label without the colon symbol. So let's execute the program, and you can see the output is same. Now let's modify this program to have the output generated in a different manner. For example, we can modify this program to print the square of the values from 1 to 10. We will write x multiplied by x. Save the program and execute it. So you have the square of the numbers from 1 to 10. Similarly, you can plan out some more modifications and you can do wonderful things. Thank you for watching.